Welcome back to the Transplanting Podcast. I'm Bear here with Daphne, and we have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation with our guest, and we want to keep the conversation going, and so enjoy part two.
That works for me. I can do that. So, kind of rotating subjects here. Valentine's Day is coming up. We had the conversation, about how do we approach the body? How do we approach talking to trans women about dating scenarios and that kind of thing. Can we go into a little bit of how you present yourself, whether it's through makeup or clothing, like what's correct and what's not correct?
There is no correct or not correct, in my opinion.
There.
Just preference? Whatever.
Like right now, I have little hearts on my eyes. I don't really do my makeup to look a certain way. I like to have fun with artistic expression. Like these aren't, like, I don't do my eye makeup like this to look more glam or femme or whatever.
Right.
Like this is just fun for me. This isn't necessarily an everyday look for me, but knowing what your goals are with your presentation is where we can fall into, like, maybe not right or wrong, but like what is going to get you closest to that goal. Like if my goal is to look a certain way or be perceived a certain way or assumed to be a certain way, there are things that I can do to do that and to make that happen. A lot of times, I mean, in terms of makeup, like beating your face, baking, contour, all of those things are born from ball scene and drag culture. And also, a lot of trans women are trying to like snatch and reshape our faces in ways that actually end up doing more harm than good, in my opinion. And sometimes if you don't know what you're doing with contour and shaping and all of those things, you're actually just accentuating hard shapes and lines on your face that can be perceived as more masculine instead of more feminine.
It just depends on how you want to look then.
Right. If that's a look that you enjoy, sure. I'm not saying that looking more masculine is actually a negative thing. I think I'm a rather, like, I don't want to say best of both worlds, but like I'm a rather like androgynous looking person. But I'm also not really trying to feminize my face when I'm doing my makeup.
Yeah.
But I am trying to like highlight things that I like and that I want to do.
Right.
Another thing is you'll notice I have a really bold eye on right now.
Yes.
And a very subtle lip.
Yes.
A lot of people think if you're doing a bold makeup, you need to do it all over so that it's cohesive. But choosing a feature or choosing a thing to really bring attention to and focus to means you can go softer on other things. That's true in like fashion as well.
Well, and this,
if you have like a really loud or bold top, maybe you need something more subtle or like a darker color pants or bottom to go with it, you know? Finding what you want to call attention to, and then everything else can kind of just be a supporting character.
Yeah, I mean, I was told at some point during the transition, they said, if you're going to go with a bold eye, you go with a subtle lip, because if you go bold on both sides of it, now you start to look, it brings a drag feel to your makeup.
Yeah, and that's like, for me personally, I was wearing eyeshadow well before I even did a full face of makeup for like daily looks. I just always loved eye makeup so much more.
Yeah.
And also, I would do eye makeup over lips most of the time because I had stubble for a while and I wanted to pull your attention higher on my face instead of lower.
That's interesting.
Those are some decisions we can make and ways that we can like adjust what we're trying to do. I also like to use literal highlights instead of those contours. Like I can highlight the center of my face and make things brighter where I want the high points to be noticed instead of doing shading and contouring and trying to make shadows on my face. Because again, if you don't really know what you're doing with those things, like I don't have any bronzer or contour on right now.
Right.
I have blush that's giving me a little bit of shape on my cheeks. And that's all you really need. I mean, I have 3 blushes on because I'm insane, but you don't need a ton of products and steps and all of those things to achieve an easy, like everyday kind of look.
Yes. So, trans person is a trans femme person. One is just beginning their journey. They have the stubble. How do they go about hiding something like that?
Yeah. So, first of all, whether or not you want to hide it is a personal choice.
True.
You don't have to.
True.
Like I would do eye makeup to pull away from it when I didn't want it seen, but I also tried for a while to get a healthier relationship with it and then decided I just didn't want it. But what you can do is what they call color correcting, which I don't love as a term, which is why I say they call it color correcting, because I don't think anything's wrong. But if you want to kind of neutralize that color, often our stubble and beards have like a blue undertone to them if you have dark hair. And so you're going to want to use a pigment that is going to neutralize that, where I have 3 in front of me here. This one is actually far too dark for me.
Is that the
this is what a
peach?
lot of like drag queens will use.
Is that the peach?
This is more orange.
Okay.
So this is going to be the peach one, where this one feels a lot more like my skin tone, but it still has that peach color to it. This, if I use this, and I have videos on this, you can find them on YouTube or on TikTok. If you use this on my skin, it's going to take me so much more work to cover up this color and make my skin look my color and not have it pull orange, as opposed to if I just went in with this color. And so using these underneath, I use them on my eyes too, because I have dark circles under my eyes that tend to be the same like blue undertone. If you are a deeper skin tone than me, depending on how deep you are, you might want to mix these two or use the deeper one. If you are much more fair than me, there's also a pink that can cut it for you. Using those underneath your concealer and or foundation is the way that you're going to make that coverage work. And a lot of people are like, well, the peach doesn't cover it for me, so I need to use the darker color. We good?
I don't know.
I don't know what I did.
But
I
that's
have
also
no idea what I
why-
did.
It's okay.
You okay?
I guess.
But that's also why there's different levels of coverage when it comes to foundations.
Yes.
So if I'm really wanting to cover up my stubble, I'm going to go in with a color corrector, but then I'm also going to make sure that I'm using a full coverage foundation and or concealer. Oh, are you looking? Do you have the same?
I have the
corrected
same.
on?
I have the same one. I was trying to see which one I have because I think mine. It does say
It's probably the
peach.
I think that's peach.
Mine
yeah.
says peach.
Yep, and that looks like it's the right tone for you.
Yeah.
But using a full coverage foundation is then also going to give you the added coverage that you need there. I think a lot of people, when they're
So-
saying the peach corrector isn't going to cover it all, because then they're going in with like a skin tint. And I'm like, well, yeah, because that doesn't have any coverage to cover up what you're trying to actually neutralize.
So when I start my makeup routine, I'll start off with a primer. But there's like a lot of different primers that are out there depending on different skin types. Do you want to? I don't know if you know enough about. I don't know what you know about makeup, but is that
know
something
too
you can?
much.
Okay, well, cool. Let's just kind of walk through that.
There's this certificate behind me from all the knowledge I have about it.
Cool. So, I mean, can you talk to us about primer? Like, how does somebody determine what type of skin they have and what they should have?
Yeah, I don't use primers.
Okay.
Because I have pretty dry skin that I'm going to say treat with my skincare.
Okay.
And so my moisturizers, my serums and things work as my primers because you're right, there's a lot of kinds of primers. And I don't know if I have a few in my arsenal. Like this one from Danessa Myricks is a balm to powder formula that is for if you have oily skin, it holds your oils at bay and it will help mattify your face.
Okay.
I use this sometimes sparingly, but if you have really dry skin, you don't need to you don't have oils that need to be dealt with and mattified. A lot of hydrating primers and primers made for dry skin are basically just glorified moisturizers, which is why I don't use
That's fair.
a primer specifically, because a lot of them are basically just moisturizers.
I'm trying.
But there's also like there are sticky primers, there's mattifying primers. A lot of people use sticky primers that literally help your makeup stick to your face. And that helps with longevity if you're looking for your makeup to stay all day, if you're doing a special event and things like that. But making sure the one primer that I will always use is actually an eyeshadow primer, and I'll use primers on my eyelids most often.
Okay.
Because that's
it helps it stick, yeah.
And going in with powders there, but it's rare that I put a primer on if you're not considering my skincare, which is my primer.
Fair enough. I use this e.l.f. poreless face primer. I don't know. I like it. But yeah, I tend to have...
So if it works for you, use it.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to have dry skin.
I end my skincare with a sunscreen that has a really nice finish to it, and makeup lays really well on top of it. So that's part of my skincare.
Yeah.
But it works as a primer. It does both for me.
That's fair. After that, I tend to go into the concealer. I make sure I shave everything, and then I tend to use concealer only over the mustache area because everything else I tend to be able to shave down enough that it doesn't really show. So I just use it there. But then I discovered recently that one of the better ways to do it would be to use put the concealer on, but then powder it before you do anything else, because it felt like it just didn't do a ton before that. Like it still felt like your hairs would show underneath still. And so I discovered like a couple days, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I discovered you can powder it right after that, and it helps kind of set it before you go past that.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about with like those color correctors. You
Yeah.
want to do that same thing, because if you just come in with like a foundation brush or a sponge or whatever, if you didn't lock that concealer or the corrector in place, then you're just mixing the two liquid products when you go in with your foundation. You're just mixing them together.
Yeah.
And you're picking it
And
back
it's crazy.
up.
I've done
So
that
you
for like
wanna-
3 years.
Yeah. You want to powder it, or honestly just let it sit and let it dry.
Is that better than
it
powdering?
will stay in place. You can do both. I don't like to use a lot of powder on my face because I have rather dry skin.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't grow a ton of facial hair anymore, luckily, because I paid a lot of money to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But when I did, I would do that step first, and I would let that sit on my face while I did my eyes so that it would dry.
You do your eyes before you do your foundation then? Why?
Fallout.
What does that mean?
So if I'm using, right now I used creams for this eyeshadow, so it didn't happen today. But if I have powder on this brush and I'm putting it on my face, sometimes that powder will fall off of the brush and onto my face.
When it does that, I just like cut my hand, like I'll cut my hand and just go, and try to see if I can blow it off. But
yeah, it's much easier to wipe it off when there's not already makeup on your face, because then you don't get streaks of it across your cheek and you can wipe it all off. Then you do your makeup over after you've wiped it off. It will ruin your makeup sometimes, especially if it's like a dark color.
Dark one, yeah.
And it gets under your eyes, then anything you tried to neutralize under your eyes or brighten under your eyes end up going gray because there's like black pigment in there. So I mostly do my eyes first for those reasons.
So, like one of the reasons I don't do it that way was because I had a really hard time getting colors to stick. It felt like they wouldn't stick, and so I went and did that. Or if you took the time to get your colors right, then when you came in to do your foundation, now you're just crossing over those lines anyways, and you're almost ruining the edges of the color. I don't know. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, so you're saying you're not getting colors to stick, you mean like eyeshadow?
Yes.
That's why I use a primer for my eyeshadow.
So you just prime your eyes and then do that.
So I'll just cover the area of my eyes, and this will help with longevity, but also help colors pop because you're giving it like a blank slate, and they make these in different colors too.
Yeah.
So I will do that around the eye area, and then just when I'm putting my foundation or concealer on, I'm just gonna blend up to this point, but I'm not going to go over where the eyeshadow is, right? When I did this today, I did all of my foundation, and then you can watch it on YouTube when I post this on Wednesday. I did tap along the edge of where this color was with the concealer brush to kind of help that blend. And honestly, from years of me doing my eyes before my face, I've actually learned that I can be a little sloppier with my eyeshadow because when I do my face, it will help clean it up.
Yeah. Well, then.
And I do that in that order. That is not the only way to do it.
No.
There are makeup artists who swear by it the other way around.
Yeah. You just brought up another thing that even I don't understand. Brushes. There are 1,000 brushes. How do you determine what does what?
There is a full breakdown of brushes in the Makeup Basics playlist on YouTube. It's like, I think like a half hour of content of me breaking down like tools and brushes.
Wow.
How do you know what does what? Often when you buy a brush, it'll tell you,
Yeah.
like, this is a foundation brush because it's called that. But also sometimes you can tell, like, these are concealer brushes because they're smaller and they kind of have these like angles that can help you get in under your eyes and things like that. And also, this is a brush that I use to put on those correctors we were talking about.
Yeah.
Firm blending eyeshadow is what the arm says. It's an eyeshadow brush, but I use it for concealer.
Right.
So sometimes there are no rules, and you can use what you like for other things. The real trick is the difference between what you're using for like creams and liquids versus what you're using for powders. So like I was saying, this is a foundation brush. It's a liquid foundation brush because these bristles are going to be really dense. And so it's going to help you not soak up too much of the liquid.
Right.
And it's going to give you a good application on your face. Whereas this is a powder brush.
Right.
It's much fluffier. It's much less densely populated. Like if I touch the top, it all separates. And so this is for powders. If I use this for a liquid, the liquid's actually going to come up into these bristles and you're going to waste a lot of product that way.
Yes.
And you're going to get less coverage out of whatever you're using.
So when I go to put on a foundation, I use a sponge. So
And that's fine too. That will also give you less coverage.
fair, because it soaks up.
And sponges soak. Are you using a wet sponge?
1 second.
You should wet that sponge. I'm asking if it's wet. Like, do you put it in water first?
Yes, I do.
Good.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, then it's obviously going to soak up so much more. We put it in water first, so that it doesn't get too thirsty. Sponges are great. People use sponges a lot. They're harder to clean.
Yes.
Personally, I just like brushes better. I like using brushes better, so I personally use brushes a lot more. Bear is fascinated by the sponge.
He's over here just like squishing the sponge.
I don't know what any of this stuff is. Last time I wore makeup, I had an emo phase. That was it. And it was just...
Of course you did. Your name is Bear.
It It was just the cheapest shit you could find at a Rite Aid at the pharmacy section. So that's what we used and called it good.
Oh yeah, I have plenty of drugstore makeup.
So, so when you go to put product on your face, do you just put it on your face? Do you and maybe use a brush or a sponge to put that around? Do you put the product on your, like I know some women will put like foundation on their hands and then wipe it around, whatever. I know.
Oh, you can use hands.
Yeah, and I know
I
some
always
that,
say you have 10 brushes right here.
or do you put the foundation directly onto a brush and then spread it around that? Like, what's the best way to do that?
So what I will often do is actually use a palette, and I will
Fascinating.
pump things onto a palette and pick it up on the brush or the back of your hand. I looked at it first because earlier I did my makeup, and before I washed my hands, I had a big pink spot. Like, usually you can tell how I did my makeup because you'll see it on my hand because I forget to wash it off after. But pumping something directly on the brush is going to be so much harder to blend out from because there's so much pigment right there, and then you're going to have to like do a lot of work to blend it out and to get an even layer of it.
Yeah.
So the best option on the back of your hand or a palette is pumping a little bit of, less is more too. Use
Yes.
a little bit at a time.
Yes.
You can, and this is also how you can control how much you do. Influencers love to like pump onto their face, and that is cute for a video.
It can look
But
really
with
cakey
a
though.
lot of product, yeah, it can use too much product. It can, you can't really control what you're doing and how much you're using. You can pick it up from your hand with the brush, and I'm gonna tap into it a couple of times while I do that to make sure the brush is evenly coated, so that everywhere I'm putting the brush, an even layer is put on.
Yeah.
It's a technique that people on TikTok are referring to as like priming the brush,
Yes.
and thinking of like priming as like a step that you do, not just a product that you use, but priming your brush so that your brush is there. And you can do that with a sponge too, and or literally your fingers. If I tap it on the back of my hand, I can pick it up with my finger and put it on my face like that too.
Yeah, I know. Like when I'm doing it, I'll usually put like a few smaller dots on it, and then I just like slowly sit here, work around until I get that to blend out, and I do it that way.
And that probably takes a little longer if you're putting those dots directly on the sponge.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I do my like start to finish. I think my makeup is 7 minutes. It's pretty fast.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Oh, we're different people. Don't tell my boyfriend that. He will get so mad.
I don't know. It's pretty basic, but this is my everyday look too. If I want to do something fancy, I'll go with a
You're not
different.
doing hearts on your eyes and things.
Right. If I want to go a little crazy, I'll do a different lip, and that's generally about as crazy as I get with makeup. Okay, so foundation. There's 1,000 foundations. How do you find the right foundation for you?
Well, I was talking about coverage is how you want to make sure you know which coverage. And again, I do have videos covering like all of these if you want like really in-depth step-by-steps of how we pick things. Coverage, color, and finish are what we're looking for with foundation. So knowing if you want a lot of coverage where you can't really see your skin through it at all, then you want something that's full coverage. If you want to see your skin and just get like a little wash of color over it, then you want something more like a skin tint, something that's low coverage. Finding the finish that you want. Again, I have pretty dry skin, so a lot of matte foundations go really cakey and dry on me. So I prefer like dewy and hydrating finishes. Finding the finish that you want that works with your skin type, but also with what you want to look like. I can wear mattifying foundations. I have a matte foundation on right now.
Yeah.
I just need to know how to work with it and what other products to pair it with. And then the last one is finding your color, which is one of the hardest things to do.
Yeah.
And I do have a video on YouTube where I literally swatched all of the foundations that I have across my chest, so you can see how I pick the color.
Yeah.
If that's helpful for you. but also going to, it sucks because a lot of drugstore and like lower price points don't have like testers in stores where you
Right.
can find a color. But if you go to a Sephora or an Ulta, the people working there can help you find your color.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was the
It
best
also
thing I
depends
did.
whether or not you get a good person, because sometimes they're not very good at color matching, but they can give you a good starting point.
Yes.
The thing that I'm looking for with a foundation is you're looking for the one that's going to disappear the most on your skin. You want the one that
You're not going to see
is the
the chin
least
separate from
detectable.
your chest.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like you're just putting something on your face. It looks like you are enhancing your features.
Yes. I don't even know what my mate like. It doesn't say if it's what coverage it is.
Is
It
that
just says it's a
Maybelline?
L'Oreal
Oh,
infallible 24-hour wear, whatever. It just says it's like a
oh
sunscreen
yeah.
foundation, breathable texture.
Oh
That's all.
yeah, this is
That one. That's the one.
Yeah, I think this is pretty full coverage.
I'm curious, what number are you?
They sent me the wrong ones, so I was gonna show you these. This is
Oh, yours is a
too dark
lot
on
brighter
me.
than me.
It's actually a little dark on me, and it's actually I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it pulls pretty yellow too.
Yes.
Which I'm not yellow. Especially when I'm wearing pink, it really looks bad. But this is pretty full coverage. I can take a brush and work that in.
Oh, it softened the edges, if that's a term.
Actually,
Yeah, the brush is going to help it blend in.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's close enough to my color that you can't super tell. But if I had this all over, I would start looking a little bit like an Oompa Loompa because it is just a little too yellow on me.
yeah. So, I also remember somebody had told me that, like my number on here is a 420. But if you were going to
I'm
go,
445.
you what?
I'm 445. They sent me two. I might have 420 in here. Oh no, 450. Yeah, they sent me two dark ones.
Yeah. Well, so one of the things that I was told was that when you're testing your colors, if something like a 420 or for example, is too dark, if you go one number down, I don't remember if they go by fives or ones, maybe there's a 419, but if you
It depends on the brand.
fair, but if you go down one number, it doesn't mean that you went down one shade, but maybe you went down with one different base color, and so it'll be like a red and an orange, different base colors in there.
Yeah, and so that's where that I go through all of that in a video if
Yeah.
you don't have any idea what I'm talking about because I won't have time to explain.
No, that's
But
fine.
that's where like undertones, like I use pink and cool undertones.
Yes.
But that foundation I just watched on me was far too yellow,
And I tend
so
to
it
do
was
warm.
too warm for
Yeah.
me. And so yeah, often if you go like one number up or one number down, sometimes it looks like actually on my hand here, this is 445, this is 450. And so
Wow.
you'd think the darker one would be the higher number usually, but
it
it's
could
the
just,
different undertone
yes.
that makes it look quite different. So yeah, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
450 actually is probably a better match for me.
Yeah. After I do the foundation, I tend to run, and this is tend to be when this tends to be about when I do. And
Don't
now we're
mind
into ASMR. Like, woo.
No, just doing it on my chest for the chasers.
So after that is when tends to be when I go into my eyes after that, right? I don't really do much in the way of colors because I don't totally understand colors. And when I do colors, I don't do anything bright or poppy. I tend to just do something that's a real basic tones, and I get a small kit where they just go together. And that's all I do. And usually it's just one color. I don't tend to go with 4 different colors. I just pick one and kind of run with that. Because I don't totally understand color. My big thing that I do is I do a lot in the way of eyeliner and the eyelashes, right? For the eyeliner, I know there's a bunch of different types. You have everything from a real liquid to a pencil to pens. What's the best way to work through something like that?
Dealer's choice, really, there, depending on what kind of a look you like and what you're going for. Like, I have a liquid on right now. That is a pretty bold line with a wing that you can see.
Yes.
And that is because I wanted that kind of an aesthetic and that kind of look for this. For my like kind of everyday look, I'll actually line my eyes with an eyeshadow. And so I will take, let me find a flat brush. Do I have one? Hello. Sorry. I will take a really flat brush like
Yes.
this and dip it into some black or dark brown eyeshadow
Yes.
and just use that
Along
right
the
along my
lines.
lash line. Because I have what we call hooded eyes, where
Yes.
the skin above the crease of my eye actually covers my lid when my eyes are open,
Yeah.
which is like how I built my look today, so that when my eyebrows are relaxed, you still see the hearts, but you don't see anything that's on my lids. Like all of the other pink goes away, and that was intentionally how I built for this look. But then also when I try to do liquid liner and I try to do like a thick eyeliner, sometimes that color ends up on the top of my eyelid because of those hoods. Yeah. So using something thin like this is a great way to avoid that. I also did this liquid liner with a similar angled brush
Yes.
to make the line as thin as it could be where my hood is going to be covering it. But just learning your eye shape and what works best for you
Yeah.
is the way to go about it. I'll also sometimes draw what I want to do with eyeshadow first and then go over it with
Just go
liquid
fill it
liner to
in.
make sure the shape is right, to make sure everything is good. Also, I'll say early on in college, high school, I used to do my makeup every night before I would shower and go to bed. And that's how I like practiced and learned a lot of this stuff.
Yes.
Because I knew for myself, if I was going to be wearing makeup in public, it had to be good. I like didn't want to be the little femme who was like having middle school makeup as an adult, and going through like second puberty and all of that.
Right.
And I knew I was far more likely to be targeted if I wasn't presenting femme in a way that would be like socially approved.
Yeah.
And so practicing your makeup on days you're not going out, like on nights before you shower and things like that, get something cheap that you can practice your skills with is also a really good way to go about it.
Yeah, I was traveling the country when I was starting to come out for work, and so I was in hotels every night, and so I would go in at the hotel before the shower, and I would practice in the mirror there, and that was what I did because it was a place away from home where I could get away with something like that. But
Yeah.
I found that the pencils I seem to have a really hard time with the pencils. The tips break off and you try to get it off and it smears all over, you know.
I very rarely use a pencil these days.
Yeah. Well, and then so I ended up with I liked how the liquid looked, but then the liquid like smears too if you look the wrong direction, you know. So I ended up doing pens. I found really good luck with pens, and I get a pen that has like a really long tip on it. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Exactly, just like that. Yeah. So I get one that has a really long tip on it, and then I'll start it at the inside, whatever. I kind of pull around to the outside. When I go to make my wing, because I do the wings pretty well every day, right? When I go to do it, I'll go make my mark and make sure they kind of match on both sides. Then I will take the tip, whatever. I set it on that mark, and I just pull across the eyelid, and it tends to just make its own natural slant down toward the center, and that seems to be the best way to just get that real pretty with it instead of having to try to draw these curves along your eye and make that happen.
Yeah, and again, that's based on your eye shape.
Yes.
Where if I do what you're talking about, if I right now drew this eyeliner like this, if I were to draw a line out this way, when I relax my eyebrows, that line is down here now.
Yes.
You know, because
Mine does like a
of the
little
way
smiley
that my
face when I
skin
do that.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you get like the little like curved line there.
Yes. And
So
sometimes
you
it's
also need
cute,
to be
but not
doing
every
that with your
time.
eyebrows relaxed. You need to not move your face while you're doing it. I will always have a handheld mirror that I hold in front of my face so that I'm not like up against the mirror like that. And I will relax my face as much as possible so I see
Yeah.
what my resting face is going to be. That's how I drew these hearts.
I mean, but yes.
Yes. But that's how I drew these hearts today. I relaxed my face and I was like, okay, they need to start here. Because if I just had my eyes open, I'd be like, oh, I'll draw the heart like here.
Uh-huh.
And then it would disappear.
So
you just need to make sure you have it exposed.
right. Yeah, and same kind of thing, right? I have the hooded eyes. Actually, the angle that you have your hearts at is pretty well where I start with my hoods. And then yeah, I just usually grab it there and just kind of pull to the center, and it makes its own shape. Trying to just kind of rush through the last little bit of stuff here. Anything about? I tend to do. What do you call this, Bear?
I don't know.
What do you
I don't
call
think
that?
Bear is the person we
Makeup?
asked.
The lashes, the
Oh, mascara.
mascara. Thank you. Yeah, I do a mascara. Is there anything about mascara that people need to think about when they're picking one?
There are different formulas of mascaras. Black goop is basically black goop. There's only so many ways you can make it happen.
That is fair.
Really, the difference between volume and length is what people are looking at. Where
Yes.
Right.
if you have really short lashes that you want to extend, you might be looking for a lengthening mascara.
Right.
If you have really sparse lashes that you want to make it look like there's more, you might want a thicker mascara. There's also false lashes where you can just glue new ones onto your eyes if you want to.
I had a really hard time doing that.
That is a little leveled up of a skill, but again, there's a tutorial on YouTube for you.
There you go. Lipstick. There's 100 different types of lipsticks. You got the solid that you can just draw on. You'll have the different types of liquids. Is there anything about those that people need to think about? Because smearing is one. You got the pen.
Lip liner
Lip
is going
liners.
to be your friend.
Yeah.
Starting with a liner, drawing the outline of your lips so that if you're going in with just a typical like bullet lipstick, it's not going to bleed out onto your skin. The liner will keep it in place, but it's also giving you the shape that you want. So when I did my makeup today, I did use a liner, but I used one that's pretty close to my lip color.
Yes.
And so I just go in and I draw around my lips. I don't overline or draw outside of where my lips are at all. Some people do. I personally don't. But you're just outlining your lips so that when you put on a gloss or a lipstick or whatever like cream product you put on,
Yeah.
it knows where to stop.
Yeah. And when it comes to color, I mean, obviously you can pick any color you want if you're trying to go for like a more natural color. One of the things there's a meme that goes around says, if you're looking for the most natural color of it, exactly that right there, match the color of your tits, whatever. And the meme goes around says, girls in Walmart be
specifically.
flipping their tits out trying to show everybody or to pick the right color though.
When I used to work at Sephora, I'd be like, I'm not going to tell you to do it, but if you know the color of your nipple, that would be really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of choose your own adventure. I personally really like pinks on me in most of my makeup. Like I was saying, my undertone tends to be pink and cooler, but also like when I come in with this pink of a lipstick,
Yes.
I feel like a drag queen. So
Yeah,
finding what you like and what looks good on you. I've learned that like berries and deeper reds can look very good on me.
Yes.
But again, most of the time, I prefer the star of the show to be my eyes and
Mm-hmm.
for my lips to be a little more subtle. I really only do like bold lips when I'm like doing fun looks for social media.
Yeah.
It's rare that I do it for my daily life, partially because I want to make out with my boyfriend.
Right. Well, and I mean, we were talking earlier about the you do a bold eye, you don't do a bold lip. If you do a bold lip, you don't,
Mhm.
So lips tends to be where I spend more time. How do you get? Yeah, because I'll tend to play with darker colors, but I don't tend to go into like purples and things like that. That just doesn't fit me well. But I will go into different colors, red, especially depending on what outfit I'm wearing. Right. How do you set lipstick? Because like that's a big thing. You go to take a drink in a glass and now you've left lip everywhere. You go eat your food, you've left it. And now partway through your date, you have like this clear section in the middle of your lip because you've been doing everything else.
A little bit of transfer is going to happen with
Right.
most lip products, especially glossy ones. But the way to get your lip to stay on as long as possible, the liner that I was talking about, and then you blot. You take like a tissue or like half a piece of toilet paper and you put it between your lips and blot what you did. And then you go over it again. And basically, you're just putting it on in thinner layers than it would go on in typically.
Yes.
And those layers are then, when you take a sip of water, only the top layer comes off, only some of
That
the
makes a
top
lot of
layers come
sense.
off.
Oh, wow.
And so you're getting little thin layers, but that blotting is also pressing the product into your lips so that it has a little bit more staying power.
Yeah. One of the other things that was pointed out to me, I was in a makeup forum on Reddit and I said, hey, what do you think about my look? Because I'm trying to get better, right? And one of the biggest things I got was you don't drag your lipstick all the way to the corners. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying I don't really overline, but a lot of people, when you use lip liner in particular, I'm going to just quickly... Like, this is where my natural lip sits. Most people will sometimes overline
Right.
where you draw like outside of that line. If you are going to be doing that, what I recommend doing, and this goes along to not going all the way to the corners there, is not doing just a line around your entire lip, but gradually coming off of that line where I'm going to...
Like really thin.
Do you see that at some point I came off of the line that I had already drawn?
I do see
and I
that.
came under it,
Yeah.
but I started on the line that I had already drawn.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you don't have it... I'm not going to go like that
Right.
and draw where it looks so huge all over. This way, it gives my lip kind of a pouty effect, and it kind of makes it look more like
Maybe
like
you
duck
kiss
face
it.
if you're a millennial. This way, it looks like I'm having an allergic reaction. This way, it looks like I'm making a kissy face.
Yes.
And this is really more the aesthetic that people want.
Yes. I guess at the end of, we talked a little bit about powders. I tend to use like a translucent powder. I know there's a lot of different colors worth of powders. Is there something people need to think about it?
Powders. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my lips now.
You're good.
Powders. There are a lot of powders, a lot of types of powders, a lot of things that powders do. There's a difference between setting powders and finishing powders.
Bronzing.
There's all of the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's powder blush, there's powder bronzer, there's eyeshadows, like all of those things. The thing to know is a finishing powder is going to change the finish of your makeup. So I was talking about finishes with foundation before.
Yes.
Like matte or dewy and like satin, like what the finish is. A finishing powder is going to alter that finish for you. A setting powder, it's what's going to like set your makeup in place, right?
Yes.
And so most of the time you're looking for a setting powder.
Yes.
But also knowing your skin and knowing what your skin can take is paramount here. Again, I don't use a lot of powder. I will use powder. I have powder on my face right now, but not all over, sparingly. I know where my skin creases, where it's most likely to separate. So right now, I think I only have powder right under my eyes, where my eyes are going to crease because I have a lot of lines under my eyes. Right on my smile lines, and then right across my forehead, because I have a crease that goes across my forehead that my foundation tends to separate in. And that's the only place I'm going to powder. People who have a lot of oils and get sweaty throughout the day and things like that are usually going to want to use some more powder because it can help keep those oils at bay throughout the day.
Yeah.
But everybody's going to be different.
I know I tend to use like a finishing powder, if you will. It just says it's a pressed powder. Anyway, I tend to use it though to set the foundation, because if you don't, I find that, you wear something white and now you've smeared foundation across, the things that you're wearing.
Right. Yeah, it can help lock it in place. But there's also setting sprays that I use all over my face.
That's
that
how I
can help
finish
with
it.
that.
Like when I finish all of my makeup, I'll set the spray.
After you put powders on, you usually do want to give it something of a spray so that it's not too dry and powdery.
Yeah.
Mixing those together. And sometimes it's just finding the right formulas that work for your skin. Different people respond differently to different things. There are products I swear by that people are like, I hate that. It never works for me. Right? Yeah. There are things that people love that won't work for me because my skin's too dry. There's just like different things that work for different people.
Right. Oh, man, we have been...
I really appreciate you smiling and nodding along to all of this, even though you probably don't care.
I just live here.
Well, I mean...
I'm just here.
I mean, but this is the point of this channel, of this entire podcast, is that there's information that people don't have, especially a lot of trans people don't have about ways to do things. There's also cis people that don't understand things about trans people. And so this entire channel is built around the idea of we're going to support the trans community by increasing education in a lot of different areas. So, I know a lot of trans people come out, they don't have that extra person, that sister, that cousin, the friend, whatever, that's willing to come take them out and just go, hey, we're going to do this together. Let me show you all the things. And so having these kind of conversations is so crucial. And so having channels like your channel where you really go into depth on this kind of stuff is just a great support and resource for the community. I just wanted to say, you've spent some time here with us now. You have had so much information that has just been really good and beneficial, whether it's been about dating, bodies,
Grindr.
gender, Grindr. How you accept yourself, how do we present ourselves, and different things like this. And you just have this wealth of information that I think a lot of people need to have more of. And I think you're just doing a great service here for the community. I highly recommend that anybody that wants to learn more, go check out your channel because you're really good at the way you present these things, but as well, you're so fucking funny. I really, I get such a joy out of watching it because you have this information. You're trying the different products and you're given different things like this. But then on top of it, you bring this light with you and you just have so much fun and the laugh. I love your laugh so much. It brings me so... Yeah. It brings me so much joy, though. It really does. It makes me I smile every time I hear it. I laugh along with the videos, and I just, before we started this episode, I showed Bear several videos, and I was like, by the way, this is who we're going to be talking with. And I was like, just come check. Yeah. Oh, no way. I go show him some of these, and he hears the laugh, and he's laughing along with me. We're just and it's not that we're laughing at you. There's a genuine joy that comes with it. And I love all of it. I love how you are so comfortable and confident with yourself, because that's something that a lot of people don't have, especially trans people. And so for you to put yourself out there in this big way to not that you're just putting yourself in a big way, but a very public way, where people are seeing you and what you do. That's something that not everybody's able to do, and I just think that's such a great skill and a service for the community. And so I just wanted to say thank you so much for what you're doing for the community, but also thanks for coming on the podcast and spending time with us. And yeah, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed all of this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I had a couple other things I wanted to ask you after this, but I'm going to let Bear go ahead and close us out.
Yeah. Oh my God, your personality is like, like I thoroughly enjoyed. I don't care what I have to sit through, because this is we're just delivering advocacy and help and whatever it takes to the community. And having you come on the podcast, that was a treat. That was a real treat. Thank you so much. Because even though, makeup's maybe not my thing, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it just because the way you deliver, your information. I'm actually very hard of hearing, but I heard everything, perfectly. Yeah, we have an audio set up, but no, you're real patient, but you still have passion along with it, and you just know your shit. And makeup may not be my thing, but shit, I really enjoyed that. I really did.
Is there any like shameless shout outs you want to do real quick?
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to your channel, or shout out to any other services that you're offering, how people can find you, stuff like that?
Yeah, you can find everything I do online, basically.
Just Google
at
ya.
Believe in Maybe on most social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I have a second TikTok that's at Maybe Burke, my first and last name.
Yes.
Or you can go to maybeburke.com and just find all of the things that I do. If your workplace wants a training on how to be nice to people, if you're looking for
How to be nice to people.
anything, that is unfortunately what I teach,
Yes,
basically.
very much
To
so.
human.
How to be nice to people. Yeah, I'm very findable.
All right.
Great. Right on. Yeah, thanks again for coming on the podcast. That was awesome.
Thank you for having me,
And-
of course.
Yeah. And if you would like to be a guest on the Transplanting Podcast, the contact is daphne@transplantingpodcast.com. And please, continue to be patient with us as we recover the rest of our socials. But you can also visit the website at transplantingpodcast.com and leave us a message there. Otherwise, hope you have a nice, safe Valentine's Day. And we'll see you back later in the next episode. And as always, welcome to the family.